In the frigid northern parts of the planet, clever humans found how to turn cisterns into habitable and adjustable residences. The rationale for their choice will sound incredible. Welcome to Amazing Truth Channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new. Now go to the story. The conventional application for cisterns is far apart from dwellings. They are, in theory, utilized to move liquids, such as oil, over great distances around the globe. Nonetheless, a few very creative and enterprising individuals saw the possibility of creating mobile houses out of these cylindrical forms. Many of these cisterns were merely lying around, harming the environment since they had no intention of being used or maintained. Thankfully, it appears that they have made a fresh startup in the far north. In many isolated parts of the world, people have been utilizing cylinders as dwellings for more than 40 years. Discovering house clusters constructed from converted cisterns is not unusual. The inception of this idea may be traced back to the necessity of providing sufficient accommodation for those engaged in shift work, researchers, military personnel, and mountain climbers in some northern communities. These workers frequently had to do their jobs in very cold and windy environments, where temperatures may drop below 65 degrees and winds reach speeds of 16 meters per second. Creating comfortable and durable housing that could withstand the severe northern environment was the major problem. Based on past experiences, metal oil barrels are the most dependable material to employ for this kind of housing. When placed properly, they can endure strong winds and heavy cold. We owe a debt of gratitude to the Soviet Union for this discovery. Their creative minds linked idle-standing containers to the necessity of shelter during extreme weather. At first, the industry believed it was a good idea to provide very little insulation for wooden work trailers. Despite their good intentions, these trailers were unable to endure frost temperatures below 20 degrees and soon began to collapse due to the harsh weather strain. It was time to pull out all the stops. Two talented engineers from the USSR, Sergei Komalov and Alexander Nucleyev, helped with product development and design, pushing this housing breakthrough to new heights. They created unified metal blocks, an upgrade to mobile homes that fundamentally changed the way people think about housing. They were determined to create and maintain a brand new high bar for their offering. Although the initial house model was created in 1975, it required an extra 3 years to try out some more possibilities and fix a few design problems. The first residential mobile complex prototype was the modified model from 1978. It was obvious that the developers had discovered something excellent and much needed. One extremely important advantage of these cylindrical buildings was that they required relatively little labor or financial commitment. Any design becomes very popular and in high demand when building expenses are maintained to a minimum. As a result, this design gained a lot of popularity since it offered great living conditions and was reasonably priced, dependable, and readily available. The different living areas may be tailored to the intended user's requirements. Depending on what each person requires, the units can have kitchens, baths, sitting spaces, and sleeping quarters. Finishing the interior with wood paneling adds comfort and visual appeal. When employees are able to personalize the layout and appearance of their workplace, an originally utilitarian space takes on the impression of a true home. A few of the production requirements that the designers had to consider were the need for relative comfort, stability in the face of high wind gusts, durability, and streamlining during transportation. Scientific calculations and the use of technological know-how led the production process. The northern areas demand effective housing. Thus, the designers conducted extensive study to include all the necessary elements. A cost-effective and cheap production process is also maintained when just essential resources are used. The Army offered to participate in the project so that the unified metal block could be tested out before it became the conventional type of housing. Standard, high-quality transportable housing is always required when soldiers are sent to far-off locations from their bases of operations. For the soldiers to carry out their duties efficiently, they also require temporary offices and housing. It was discovered early in the testing period that these units lower heat radiation levels, as compared to rectangular-shaped structures, aided in heat retention. We can forget that ventilation is still a crucial component of design, even in bitterly cold weather. The ventilation system in these cylindrical homes is situated in the top portion of the building, beneath the ceiling. The right circumstances are established to guarantee that ventilation and heating are perfectly balanced, preventing moisture from accumulating within the home. Naturally, many layers of insulation are also used to maximize the efficiency of the devices. Having a consistent supply of hot and cold water within one's house is one of the demands of contemporary man. These dwellings come equipped with a mounted water unit as standard equipment for this reason. It allows users to install showers in addition to flushing toilets. This kind of dwelling seems to be perfect for accommodating a wide range of different people, from regular shift workers to daring mountain climbers in the harsh northern regions. The ability of these units for transportation should also be taken into account, as winter and ice make it more difficult to get to isolated locations. The good news is that all kinds of trucks can deliver these pre-assembled pieces. If the terrain and conditions call for a lot more work, you can even call in a helicopter to transport them. Strangely enough, the primary drawback of the buildings in various countries is precisely because they were built for the coldest parts of the world. The units easily overheat and nearly become unlivable when utilized in areas where temperatures tend to climb. The drawbacks are essentially non-existent up north, but engineers are collaborating to create devices that could also operate more effectively in various conditions. The first thing that individuals need to do when choosing to live in a house like this, but in a hot climate, is to create more shade. You may do this by adding tarpaulin covers, a wooden ceiling, or matting composed of straw or reeds. In order to produce a canopy and block heat, they can also plant climbing plants. Applying polyurethane coats to the cylinder blocks will aid in further cooling the units. These homes are affordable, lightweight, livable, adaptable, ventilated, resistant to the severe weather found in the world's northern areas, and furnished with every luxury one could want. It should come as no surprise that the residents of isolated areas like living in these cisterns. But what is the true fundamental factor influencing their decision? The explanation is astounding and rather logical. These apartments offer excellent protection from the cold. It is strange that there are no electric heaters or chimneys, since one of these devices' primary goals is to provide heat. Upon closer examination, the heating system, which consists of convectors that efficiently warm the living and working units, is concealed in the floorboards. The primary goal of the developers of this kind of home was accomplished successfully. Inside, it will be a comfortable plus 16 degrees Celsius, even if the outside temperature could be a frigid minus 65. Staying out of the bitter cold continues to be the major concern. These engineers understood exactly what they were going for and succeeded completely. Very few outsiders have experienced living and working in such tough situations with extremely low temperatures and the necessity for some level of comfort. Remarkably, in over 4 decades, there has never been a more comfortable place to live than the Beryl homes. This record is even more astounding in light of how far technology has come in the previous 40 years. Although some unfavorable observers would not initially think of this type of home as the coziest or most pleasant, its residents' primary necessity in such severe weather is isolation from the cold. In these regions, the ideal home will be able to generate and maintain as much warmth as feasible. The biggest threat to human life is the severe northern winters. Yet this one is now surmountable because of these ancient, repurposed cisterns. It may surprise you to learn that residents of the north actively want to live in these ancient cisterns. If it meant you could stay warmer in the winter, would you ever give up your cozy home for these cylindrical blocks? Leave a comment below to let us know. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you later. If you like the story, surely the next video that's appearing on your screen will move you too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next videos. A huge kiss, and see you in the next story.